What is the significance of the saying, cut the head off of the snake? What happens to the chicken when its head is cut off? Where would the 12 disciples be without Jesus? What about the Knights of the Round Table without King Arthur? This video is about the end of true religion, and I am a religious person, and I will use logic, reason, and science against Enlightenment-era philosophies to come to the true conclusion that the careful observer must come to in light of this evidence and me spelling it out for them in a way that even a child could appreciate. Ethiopians have physical characteristics of Semites, whites, and blacks. The real ancestors of all people were almost certainly Ethiopian. Of the Ethiopians, the ancestors of Biafrans emerged as the first kings of humanity, and their royal family spread. Keep in mind, the DNA would only be royal family, and it is the most obvious characteristic of Western culture to lie about who ruled over who and why, and to use science to do it. Therefore, there will always be doubt, and the benefit of the doubt should never go to the West. That is irresponsible and foolish. Africa has been the dark continent for a long time, and there has been resentment against African martial arts royal families for tens of thousands of years, before the Old Testament was even written. Man has been mimicking animals for tens of thousands of years to express and apply natural and supernatural power for the purpose of war. This is what martial arts really is, and the difference between a martial arts religious order and all these fake religions we have that are reactions to the martial arts order. The difference of man being in nature and meditating on his purpose and connecting to God versus the merchant era religions. Israel as a trade route, a trade center, Egypt as a trade center, and Babylon as a trade center, Persia, Assyria, etc. The philosophy of the global merchant corporate ruling and governing class is Enlightenment rationalism with a pragmatic functionalism. They believe in lying about history, religion, science, politics, and more, and how people are really treated, coerced, controlled, etc. So they can unite people in a world where there is less war and more eugenics, with an emphasis on abortion, drugging, and controlling sexual behavior to reduce the population and to reward their allies with the most attractive men, women, and children. The real kings anointed by God through the screen of tens of thousands of years of natural spirit war are Igbos, and man has put a special emphasis on covering this up and sabotaging them. Why? Because every man of every faith and every philosophy can appreciate the idea that you know them by their works. Like a painting, perhaps. The strokes. This must be Van Gogh or Da Vinci. You know them by their works. The spirit will not return after me, and man will be forced to rely on eugenics for direction. Eugenesis for direction. Of course, it will be a madman's direction at best. There are brothers, and then there are soul brothers. The top martial artist is not an angry silverback gorilla, or the average black man from the ghetto, or a big, strong, mean, muscular prison convict. Because man has been thinner and more coordinated for war until the Iron Age. Or when did these big muscular guys come? It was after the Iron Age, really. After metals were developed and the sophistication, the worldly, scientific, science-based warfare that comes with metals. Before that, there was no meddling. There was just strategy, speed, and physical contact, and spiritual, natural, and supernatural martial arts prowess. The brutes were few and far between, and they were easily taken down with precise blows from the exceptional adepts of Light Temple war arts. Which brings us to the common word we see, transcendere, right? Train, and send, Eri. Transcendary. The Spirit of God is extrinsic. It is from the outside, and you have to connect to it, and you have to send the true Pharaoh. Now, why the Igbos? We know them by their works. The greatest fighters and warriors and so on. All, since man came together, were Igbos. They were African Americans, and they come disproportionately from the coast of Biafra. And when I came, I easily outdid all the blacks and all the races here, because I am from the royal family of Eri. So of mankind, Africans are the greatest warriors in natural combat before Iron Age muscle. And even after, you can make a strong case to that effect. Of Africans, Nigerians are the most populated and most mean and dense, strong warriors. But then you have to add the cut the head off the hawks, so to speak. Where is the head? Where is the heart of Nigeria? It is Biafra. And where is the heart of Biafra? It is with Eri. Neri is worldly. Neri is the worldly division of the Igbo religion. Eri and Neri. And Eri is the heart, it is the spirit, it is the mind, it is the true embodiment of Chukwu. And of Eri, the most pronounced royal family is my family. And that's not a coincidence that I am the top martial artist. And they resorted to sabotage and smear campaigns of somebody who most people hardly know, which is exactly what you would expect. Again, does the benefit of the doubt go to the oppressor and the disingenuous science departments with their secret societies and corporate masters? No. I have set the world record. I have outmaneuvered them. I gave a $4,000 4-year challenge. I am the one who's been the master for quite some time now. 15 hits in 1.2, 1.4 seconds from Deontay Wilder's boxing range with sparring gloves on top of everything else I have done to prove who I am. A brain surgeon's son. He came during the 60s and so on. There is the continuity of genetics. There is going against all the stumbling blocks and prevailing. The rose that grew in concrete while they are weeds that grew in the Garden of Eden, so to speak. Transcendary, to rise above or go beyond the limits of, to triumph over the negative or restrictive aspects of, overcome. I overcame the restrictive aspects. They are the boa constrictors. They are the repressors, the suppressors, the oppressors, and the constrictors, the restrictors. I overcame them. I am the top. They have no excuse. To outstrip or outdo in some attribute, quality, or power. I outdid them. Spiritual power. Word backwards is draw. In the beginning was the word. In the beginning was drawing the power through the authoritative utterance of martial artists. And Eri is the greatest bloodline. And I am the last, because I am the sole brother who went against the grain. My brothers and all other black people are just brothers who are controlled. Their soul is gone. They sold their soul for mind control. And yes, it hurts me to say that, but so help me God, it is true. Discipline, disciplina, teaching, learning, discipulus, pupil. So discipline is teaching and pupil. Martial arts, right? Martial arts teachers, natural teachers, not disingenuous scientists and cowards who do not have the heart to stand up to their global masters. Where did America and every oppressive developed nation get the power to oppress and rape and kill? 3 million raped in World War II in Germany alone by Russians alone. Where did they get it? It was from scientists who did not have the heart or the foresight or the depth of morality or the basic social morality or even the basic social moral will. To see that what would happen if they gave them, if they equipped them with this kind of deplorable science. Instruction is part of what discipline is. A subject that is taught, a field of study, right? You study under, pedophiles and pederastry, kind of Greek forged, Western teachers versus the higher morality of martial artists. So are you constrained by the corrupt Babylonian system of the West, or are there moral constraints derived from nature and God and martial artists who would tap into righteous indignation and the true spirit to overcome their enemies? Differentiate between the spirit and the lukewarm energy Is a man of God and of light retreat to a Buddhist retreat and train a small group of people to stay away from trouble? Or does he confront evil? Did Horus become the Pharaoh, the archetype of Pharaoh, by retreating to a Buddhist retreat or a Shinto temple? Or did he confront evil? And this is what caused the martial artists to get wiped out and martial arts to lose its soul, and a bunch of lukewarm, compatible with this egregious, this fallacious, this unforgivable, pernicious system we have of crony capitalism, authoritarianism, and imperialism, especially cultural imperialism. So of course, if the martial arts exist as a school in America, it is void by default. Sit down and shut up. At least have the honor to do that. Are you lukewarm? Are you warm enough to do that? Or are you less than lukewarm? Control gained by enforcing obedience or order, discipline, orderly or prescribed conduct or pattern of behavior, self-control, a rule or system of rules governing conduct or activity, to impose order upon. 1587, we got the definition according to Webster's of enlighten, to give spiritual insight to. 1663, enlightened, freed from ignorance and misinformation, based on full knowledge and info of the problems involved. So of course, if they're enlightened, they're above the intelligence agencies. They're the cults that control the intelligence agencies. And of course, Trump's wire or whatever it was exposed for all of America and all the world to see that there is a secret society running the FBI, as if people like me needed to be told. It was the people you give the benefit of the doubt to every day by your actions that needed to be told, we know better, sit down and shut up, you less than lukewarm bitches. Okay, Enlightenment, okay, 1669. We knew that there was an Enlightenment era, that culminated in the 18th century philosophies that were marked by rejection of traditional social and religious ideas with emphasis on rationalism. Okay, and so Buddhist enlightenment is a final blessed state marked by the absence of desire and suffering. And of course, we of the Light Temple know a desire for righteousness, justice, a thirst for righteousness is the highest form of existence, not the absence of desire and suffering. Life is suffering as you thirst for righteousness and carry your cross. This is something every man of high moral worth can appreciate, not the lukewarm, not the yin-yang, not the balance. To go to the sun or to go to the darkness, you have to choose a direction, not stay in orbit, in the cycle. You must break the cycle for better or worse, and us of the Light Temple go to God through the sun gate, so to speak, symbolically at least. Rationalism, reliance on reason as the basis for establishment of religious truth. Okay? A theory that reason in itself is in itself a source of knowledge superior to and independent of sense perceptions, versus a martial artist who becomes more, he senses things on a greater level, right? His senses are how he knows. Ironically, where do you get your reason from if not your senses? So their philosophy is automatically void. Where does your brain come from that allows you to reason? From the development, from the evolution, from the coordination of senses over generations. You people, your philosophy is by default a lie. It is an irreconcilable lie, an unjustifiable lie, an unreasonable, indignant, indecorous, pernicious lie. Sit down and shut up. Okay, a view that reason and experience rather than the non-rational are the fundamental criteria in the solution of problems. Functionalism, a theory that stresses the interdependence of the patterns and institutions of a society and their interaction in maintaining cultural and social unity. This is where you get the idea of globalism, right? We need to unite everybody together, forget what's true, what is going to allow us to unite them together and make them our corporate bitches. Cultural imperialism at its worst, everything evil and lukewarm to make true darkness. Okay, so I'll just end it there. It's basically the unity under a committee of liars using intellect, quote unquote, and merchant reasoning and treachery versus the heart as the seat of intelligence and the top martial arts relaying God's spiritual message being man's divine direction. So now you see that after I die, the soul of humanity, the head of humanity is removed. There is no regeneration. We are in darkness. Thank you.